Welcome back to Arry the Stag. TR Tony here. Let's go down to Southwestern Vehicle Auctions, where this week on Thursday there was a classic car sale. Let's go over and have a look and see what they went for. So first up this morning was a Vauxhall Astra 1998. Had some low mileage, a little bit of a conflict about the odometer, which broke at 29,000, but the owner who'd owned it from new said it had done about 35,000, and for £500 I think was a very, very good buy. They are acquiring and increasing in value over time. Lot number two went, and that was Austin 7 Pearl Cabriolet 1935. Again, a bargain, £2,000. That's all it took to get that car, and that's quite a bit of slice of history there, ready and waiting to go. Lot 3 doesn't appear to have sold. That's a Volkswagen Type 2, a T2 camper van, 1973. Looks like it needed a little bit of TLC. It was in orange and has got character, weathered and need of restoration, but I'm sure that will go likely next time around. This is one of the first Triumphs that we saw a couple of weeks ago. I did feature this on the channel a little while ago, Triumph GT6. Now, if you remember, it was a project, was complete as a car, and hopefully will see life back on the road, but would require quite a bit of work, welding, painting and refurbishment. Sold for £1,300 plus the buyer's premium, which I think actually, even if you used it for spares, which I hope it won't be, is still a heck of a deal for what are quite rare cars now on British roads. Then there's a Land Rover Range Rover 4.2 LSE 93, sold for £1,500. That's a lot of Land Rover for that kind of money, and had been under the same ownership since 2010, so looked a good deal. There's a Nissan Primera SRI 1997. Now, these cars were kind of company cars when I was working in the various sales roles back in the late 90s, and for £800 I know that they're excellent cars, and the SRI was the sporty version of the Nissan Primera. It's a good sized family car, and for £800 plus a buyer's premium I think was excellent. Next car up, lot number 8, was a car that I was quite interested in actually, and had I had attended the auction live I might well have placed a bid, because this is a CLK. It's a 230 Elegance. It's a compressor, so it's got a decent brake horsepower with it. It's an automatic 2000, sold for £550. So two-tone light dark grey leather interior, sets off the royal blue look, and I think would have been a great car. 550 quid I think would all day long would have been a great buy. As probably the Mercedes SL350 2005. This one went for £3,500, 150,000 miles warranted as well, so that's great. However, you know, these cars, these Mercedes, are just run in at that kind of level of mileage, so very, very good. £3,500 got you that. Then on to a Lexus LS400 Auto 1992. Significant miles, 190,000, but often these cars are motorway miles and are well serviced indeed, as this one has been. Great maintenance, and equipped with a 4-litre V8 engine, 250 brake horsepower. All of that car for £650 plus a buyer's premium. This was a really good sale. I'm really wishing I had attended now, but there we are. Lot 11, a Mercedes C200 Elegance, sold for £3,800, 27,000 warranted miles. So a heck of a lot of car for the money, and over the last 25 years. Then moving into Citroën Traction Avant 1952, again in black, 15,000 miles, sold for £4,400. And here's another Volkswagen T25 Transport in 91, this time sold for £6,100, and a Holsworth conversion, owned by the vendor since 2012. So again, if you're out and about in the spring, want to get out in a camping van, then £6,100 compared to the price you could pay for a camper van these days, I think is a very good kind of price point. And then on to this one, the Lot 14, which I don't think sold on the day. It's a Jaguar Sovereign V8 Auto 2000. I think it was just over £2,500 thereabouts as a guide price. Hasn't sold, but I'm sure will do next time, in Minstrel Blue Pearl Metallic, that with an ivory leather interior I think would absolutely set the car off beautifully. Then Lot 15, an Elvis Firefly 12 Saloon from 1933, almost 100 years old, sold for £10,000 in black, 5,600 odd miles, again not warranted. Then onto a Rover. This was the P6 2000, doesn't appear to have sold this time around. A 1971 car, finished in zircon blue, and some wear and tear as it mentioned on the front and rear wings. However, replacement parts were provided but didn't appear to go this time around, but I'm sure in the spring auction, if it's featured, I'm sure it will find a buyer next time. And then on to the 2003 Vauxhall Astra Bertoni edition, 2003, only 702 out of 1,000 made. This was the 702nd, I'm guessing, and sold for 3,900. Next up on page 2 was the lot number 18. This was a Peugeot 205 CTI 1991. Real little pocket rockets, these. Finished in red, great colour for the car, and yes, it needs some light restoration work, but would have been an absolute bargain, I think, for £1,700 plus the buyer's premium, with well-documented history and so on. Not often that we see commercials on the channel, but here we have a Leyland DAF. Doesn't appear to have gone this time run. Around 361,000 kilometres on that one, with a Leyland DAF FA45 160 94. Again, that one doesn't appear to have sold lot 20. On to another Vauxhall. This is lot 21, a Vauxhall Nova. These were brilliant cars, I think. Used to see a lot of these on the hire circuit. 1989, 37,000 warranted miles, sold for 3,100. They are of their time and totally reliable, I think. There's a throwback, as it says in the description. And a 1989 Vauxhall Nova Merit, finished in grey and remains in completely original condition. So that's a real great classic car to work with, I'm sure. Z3 Roadster, they're getting, I guess, into the classic arena now. 2.8, year 2000, sold for 3,400. A bit of smiles to the miles with the spring round the corner. Modest mileage of 85,000 in its 23-year lifespan. Then on to a Jaguar XJ6, sold for £1,200. A heck of a lot of car for that money. A V6 engine, 2004, 20 years old, and up for sale, unfortunately, because of a executor's sale, but finished in black with cream. Again, that colour combo of the dark paint with a kind of light fawn or white cream interior, I think is a stunning classic look. Then on to the Ford Orion 1.6 1987, sold for 3,000, with a SLK 230, again £2,500 for that one. And a Morris Minor, I saw earlier actually, this 1968, classic looking moggy, finished in Old English white in a 2-door saloon variant, with a sunroof, 2,100 plus a buyer's premium, with around 56,000 not warranted miles. But fantastic room for enhancement. These are all day long classic cars, and you see them on the circuit, and they don't make them anymore, so it's a real good buy. Then on to a Chrysler Crossfire 2006. Again, doesn't appear to have sold this time around, with followed up by a standard Flying 10 Saloon 1939 for 6,250. Next, Rover, a Rover P4 this time, Rover P4 100 1962, 4,200. A very gentlemanly looking car, if I can say that. Classic beige over grey leather, and obviously sold well, as does this Austin A35 van, and 1964. These are quite charismatic little cars, aren't they? Only 2,500 not warranted miles, 6,400, so commanded quite a lot of interest, that one. Austin 7 Chummy 1931. I've only ever seen one of these up close. It was a convertible, still commanding fantastic money. Look at that, 8,500, and a buyer's premium on top of that. And then on to an MGB GT 1978. Looking at the video, which you can do online, I'd encourage you to do so. A decent price, 6,350 in red, and lots of standout history files and maintenance and all of that would have gone with it. This one, second one, 1974, sold for £1,700, which is an absolute steal. 44,500 miles in blue, wire wheels, and a moderate example. I think it did require a little bit of work, but it was potentially an extremely useful looking motor. Right, now we're on to page 3 of 4, and this is lot 34. This just happens to be a Rover Mini Sprite. 1992, they had some big trends of building these lovely cars back then. This is a 13,980 not warranted example, sold for 7,250, and looked really good condition with those lovely mini light wheels. It looks very racy and sporty, doesn't it, in that beautiful colour. And then the next up is this beautiful Ford Anglia 105E 1965. I remember being driven around by my choir master in one of these as a choir boy years ago. This one, no different, 85,000 in that classic kind of light blue with white roof. I think is an iconic look. I love the chrome kind of mouth and the headlight covers there. Again, with the kind of Ross style wheels. 85,000, sold for 5,000, so still commanding really good money. Two-tone blue and white exterior, catches the eye absolutely. They still look fashionable and trendy now, I think, as much as they ever did way back in the 60s when I was a kid. Then on to the Morris Minor, next to the Moggies. This one's a Morris Minor Traveller. It's the estate version. It's 1970. It is green. It's in a kind of almond green, as they mentioned here in the notes, and the ash wood frame still remains in solid good condition. 43,000, again not warranted miles, but went for 6.5 grand. An MGB Roadster 1967. This looks tasty. Unfortunately didn't seem to go this time round. 73,000, white roof with a 1950 stage 2 engine and a lot of car for the money, wire wheels and everything else. Didn't go this time round, but I'm sure will attract a buyer next time, as indeed I'm sure this Ford Cortina 1600E will do as well. This is a 1968 with 31,000 miles on the clock, and in eye-catching aubergine with purple in exterior, and a standout colour that is really quite strong, as it says there in the description. Then on to a more later car, Porsche 911 Carrera 4. It's a Carrera 4S, and that's 2003, so that's sold for 15,600. With a Fiat Topolino. Don't see too many of these around. Fiat 500C Topolino, 1951, sold for 7,150, and a buyer's premium. This car, Triumph TR3A, we featured 2 or 3 weeks back, and if you didn't see the first video, then go back and have a look. Sold for 18,200. It was a lovely looking motor. It really was, in a navy blue paint and meticulous body off rebuild. Had loads of documentation. 18,200 got you that. A second Ford Anglia here, Ford Anglia Super this time, 1966, 71,000 miles rather, sold for 7,300, and looked a very decent car in its classic configuration there. Second car here, Triumph TR6 on this page. We featured again 2 or 3 weeks back on the channel. Sold for 23,100. It's a 1972 version, 65,000 miles. It was a lovely looking car. It's saffron yellow, as I remember. Yes, indeed. And the car was in excellent condition. It really did look the bee's knees in that resplendent saffron yellow paint, with a black rear, as I remember as well, blacked out rear, which was stylish for certain cars of a certain age, around about 1972. Some of the Triumphs were the same and had a black panel at the back of the car, but it sets off that yellow paint gorgeously. 23,100 got you that. And again, another Volkswagen here, a Type 1 this time, T1 panel van, 1967. Didn't appear to sell, but again, I'm sure it will do on a future sale. Another Moggy, Morris Minor 1000 this time, a Traveller estate with a roof rack on top as well. Sold for 12 grand. They really do command good money, don't they? As still do the Rover Mini Cooper, even though it's a 1997, still sold for 11,300 in orange, 76,000 miles, and 11,300 plus premium got you that one. Don't see too many of these around either. These Citroen DS23 Palace 1974. These have got kind of hydraulic air suspensions that lift the back up as you turn the thing on. It's quite weird to see these things go. They're quite stylish of their time, 1974. Nearly 20 grand plus a buyer's premium on that one. And then this one we featured on Saturday Sockets last weekend on the email. It's a Ford Granada. It's a proper Sweeney car, a 3-litre gear, so top end of the range, 64,000, not warranted miles, but still commanded £16,750. And I'd encourage you to go on the website, which will be in the description. You can see the walk around video of that car. It really was an immaculate looking motor, and I'm not at all surprised it fetched that kind of value. It was as good as if it rolled off the production line. It really was. And then the last one on this page was an Aston Martin Virage 1990, 32,000 miles. Doesn't appear to have gone this time round, but I'm sure it will do next time. And then on to page 404, there were 2 cars on this page, so we're up to lot 51 now. Bear in mind this is the winter sale, so fewer cars than perhaps normal. But this was a Fiat X19, a Bertone Again, quite a unique looking car, sold for an undisclosed sum, and 14,171 miles from new. Sounds like it was a real steal, a real good bargain, and someone's benefited from that. And then finishing up this time around with a Ford Caprice 1600 XL Auto 1975, sold for 8,000. Just shows you how strong this market is. It really is. Now, if you like this video, then watch this video here and enjoy more Arry the Stag. And we'll see you online on Arry the Stag very soon.